friends, welcome back to the channel. If you've been following along, you'll know that this is another episode in my business series where I share my entrepreneurial journey. In the last video, I told you how Etsy completely changed my life. And if you haven't watched that video, I'll make sure to link it in the description down below. And today we're taking it a step further. This time we're diving into the how, a step-by-step guide on how you can start selling digital products on Etsy too. And look, this isn't going to be one of those business coach tutorials, okay? I'm just a regular person who gave this a shot, figured out what worked, and now I'm here sharing it with you like we're just having coffee and spilling the tea on everything. I'll walk you through every step from coming up with product ideas to making your first sale, and even share some insider tips that not everyone else is sharing. By the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to get started on your Etsy journey. So whether you're new to this or maybe you're already an Etsy seller and want to level up, make sure to stick around. So let's get into it. All right, let's kick things off with step one. What the heck are you going to sell? I know this part can be overwhelming, but don't stress. So how do you find the right product? Here's my tip. Personally, I don't use any of those fancy paid research tools like Everbee or eRank, I think is what it's called. I have never used any of those. Not saying that it's bad to use them, but if you're someone like me who's very stingy, then here is how you do it. Hop on Etsy and see what's in demand. Like literally go to Etsy, type something that you're thinking about selling and see how many people are searching for it. If you really have no idea, then I suggest you can go to Google, search something like best digital products to sell online and maybe go from there. But once you already have an idea of maybe I want to sell this, go back to Etsy and validate that idea. See, if you type something on Etsy search bar and those keywords come up as suggestions, then that's a good sign that people are already searching for that product. There's a demand for that product. Another trick that I have is once you search your keywords and you're on the first page, right? Or maybe the second page, make sure you're on the first few pages because those are where the best sellers are. Once you click on a listing and you go at the very bottom of the page, you will see a date. That date usually indicates when that product was relisted, meaning when that product was last sold. So if the date there was just recently, then again, that's a good indication that that product is selling well. Sometimes Etsy would also put these bestseller banners on product listings, and again, that's a good sign that that sells very well. Look, the bottom line here is success leaves clues. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Find what sells best on Etsy and then go from there. But don't just sell something just because they're a bestseller. You also have to factor in the competition. If there's so many sellers selling that product, I'd probably stay away from it, especially if they're already established sellers on the first page, because it's going to be really hard to compete with those sellers. Find best-selling products, but make sure that there's not a ton of competition. There's always going to be competition because Etsy has been here for a very long time. So obviously people have already thought of every possible product to sell. But oftentimes once you're researching, you'll see if there's something missing in the market. Maybe this is a product that sells really well, but there's not enough good designs in the market. Or maybe this product is selling very well, but you can probably add an extra feature or something that other sellers are not including as a part of their bundle that'll make your product better or that'll make it more attractive to customers. Another tip I have is don't just go for the easiest thing to make, because there's probably going to be tons of competition there and you're likely going to have to price your product really low to be able to compete. I know everybody online is suggesting to sell journals or sell planners, but the truth is everybody is already selling those type of products, and it's probably going to be hard for you to gain traction just because there is so much competition there. These products are so easy to create, but because they're so common, it's going to be really hard for you to stand out. So instead, try creating products that are more specialized or takes more skill to create. Some great examples of these are Google Sheets, you know, those beautifully designed budget planners in Google Sheets. Not everyone knows how to make those formulas, let alone design them in a way that's visually appealing. I know I couldn't. That's why I personally buy my budget planners on Etsy. Another great idea would be Shopify websites or Squarespace websites. Those are very hard to do, but are very in demand. So the more complex or more specialized the product, the less competition you'll face. And oftentimes with these complex products, customers see the added value in them because it takes time and effort to create them, so you can price them higher. So make sure you keep all of these in mind when thinking about products to sell. But also, don't overthink this. Like, don't overthink your first product. Don't stay in this step for too long. Just pick something that interests you, get it out there, and you can always experiment with new products later on. The goal is to get things going as quickly as possible. So pick that first product, get excited, and then move on to the next step. Alright, moving on to step 2, and this is probably my favorite part, branding. I'm a huge sucker for branding. Like, I seriously geek out over making everything look aesthetic. Now, I know some people think branding isn't a big deal when you're just starting out, but I'm telling you, it's important. You're selling digital products, right? So if your shop looks like a hot mess, it's not gonna scream, I know what I'm doing with design. Your branding is your first chance to show people that you can create something beautiful and professional. Basically, you want your shop to look as good as the products you're selling. And you don't have to go crazy with this, but nailing your branding from the very beginning will really set you up for success. You know, pick a color palette that speaks to you and matches the vibe of your shop, get a nice logo, use consistent fonts, and just make sure everything looks aesthetic across the board. When people stumble upon your shop, you want them to think, wow, this person knows design. And that's where great branding comes in. And if you're feeling really stuck on where to start with branding, don't worry. Head over to Canva or Pinterest and type something like branding design. Collect all the visuals that speak to you and use that as a jumping point. It's a great way to get all those creative juices flowing and also gives you some design practice prior to diving into your actual digital products. Having a cohesive branding makes all the difference. It's the little thing that helps your shop stand out from the hundreds of others out there. So before you hit launch, spend a little time making sure that your shop is a reflection of your products and your style. Okay, now that your branding is on point, it's time for step 3, which is opening your Etsy shop. Now, I'm not going to deep dive into the actual step-by-step process of opening an Etsy shop because honestly, there are tons of YouTube tutorials out there that break it down perfectly. You won't have any trouble finding those. And opening up an Etsy shop is pretty straightforward. You know, you just follow the prompts. It feels like opening a new account in any other platform. So I'm sure you're going to figure it out. But there are a few things that I want to point out. You will need to upload a product before you can actually open your shop. Don't panic if you don't have real products ready yet. You can create a dummy listing. So go to Canva, download a digital product there, put that up as a dummy listing, and you can always delete it later once your shop is open. I know people recommend opening up your shop once your digital products are ready, but I actually recommend doing it the other way around, and here's why. Once your shop is open, you can start uploading your logo, your shop banner, your order receipt banner, and you'll kind of have a feel and see if you like how it looks. It's like giving a makeover to your shop before stocking up the shelves. It helps you get a feel for the vibe and whether it matches what you envisioned. Plus, it takes time to verify your bank account once you put it on Etsy, so it's best to get that ball rolling early. Another thing to note is that Etsy bots can be unpredictable sometimes. They'll randomly shut down new shops for no reason, and so you have to file an appeal, and that appeal can take up to 2 weeks. So to avoid any unnecessary delays, I would highly recommend to open up your shop before you start creating your digital products. Trust me, I've been there and it's not fun. I cannot tell you how many times I've opened new Etsy shops and every single time it gets suspended for no reason. And then when I file an appeal, Etsy comes back to me and says, oh no, it was a mistake, no violations were made. And the time it takes to file an appeal and wait for a response on Etsy varies. I've read on seller threads that sometimes it takes weeks and weeks. You don't want that happening to you because it's going to suck when you're hyped up and ready to upload your listings, only to find out that Etsy suspended your shop for no reason once you opened it. So I would suggest making sure that your shop is up and running first before pouring all your time and effort creating products. All right, now to the fun part, creating the actual products. Canva is user-friendly. It's so easy to use. I know people who are well above 50 and are rocking Canva like pros, so if they can do it, I'm sure you can too. And hey, if you ever feel a little confused, don't sweat it. There are tons of tutorials on YouTube that will teach you every single thing about Canva. I swear, you'll never run out of resources. So don't get intimidated. I promise you'll get the hang of it. With regards to design, just think of it as building a muscle. It takes time. So if you're feeling a bit lost at first, that's okay. Just keep Googling, keep experimenting, you'll get the hang of it. Another tip I have is to check the templates that are already in the Canva library. It's a fantastic way to see how they've built specific designs. You learn so much just by looking at how others have done it. Now, Canva is free to use and you can create products even with a free account, but you also have the option to upgrade to a pro version. I personally use Canva Pro because there are tons of features that I get to utilize whenever I create product photos. And that is the next step that we're going to talk about. All right, now you're done creating your digital products and now it's time to work on your product photos. This is super important. You could have the most amazing product in the world, but if your product photos are meh, it's gonna be tough to get those sales rolling in. Product photos are basically the window display of your shop, and if they don't look good, people are just gonna scroll right past, and we don't want that. You gotta remember that you're selling digital products here, and if your product photos aren't good, they're going to think that what you're selling is also not good. So put some time and effort into those product photos. Scour the internet for inspiration, and if you can, try adding a product video as well. Etsy loves videos. It seriously increases your chances of making a sale. It makes your products come to life in a way that photos just can't. And here is where Canva Pro comes in. Canva Pro is going to be your best friend in all of this. I know nobody likes paying for subscriptions, but I promise you Canva Pro is super worth it. That 19 Canadian dollars per month, so worth it. And hey, this is coming from someone who doesn't like to pay for subscriptions like Everbee. I'm telling you, Canva Pro is a game changer. With Canva Pro, you get access to tons of features that a free version just couldn't offer. For example, you can use their massive library of stock photos and videos that you can use for your product listings. And then there's the design elements. There are so many cool illustrations that can help your product photos stand out. And there's also the background remover, which is my favorite tool of all time. With just a click of a button, your background is gone, making your products look super professional, looking like you edited it in Photoshop, but really you just did it in Canva. And let's not forget about mock-up photos. This is super important to your product listings. Canva Pro gives you access to some really nice mock-up templates where you can insert your product and it looks like it's on a laptop or on a phone. I'm going to insert a photo here so you know what I'm talking about. Canva Pro has all those templates ready for you to use. These mock-ups will take your product photos on a whole new level. So yeah, Canva Pro might have a price, but I promise you it's worth every penny. Bottom line is take your time with the product photos and videos. They can really make or break your product success, so make sure they stand out. Step 6, creating the PDF to deliver your digital product. If you're new to this whole digital product world, you're probably wondering how you're going to deliver your product to your client. So how we do it is we create a PDF, and on that PDF, we design like a button, and then on that button, you link your Canva template so customers can click on that and then they'll be redirected to the template itself. This is pretty much the final touch before your customers gets their hands on the goods. So you gotta make sure this looks nice. Add in some nice graphics and maybe even insert a short guide or like a how-to section to tell your customers how to use the product right away. This little extra touch goes a long way. You don't have to overthink it. Even a simple, clean design can look super professional. It's the last piece of the puzzle, and a well-done PDF can make your customers feel like they made the right choice buying from you, and maybe they'll be even repeat customers. Who knows? On to step 7. This is the part where we make sure that people can actually find your product on Etsy. Because let's be real, if nobody can find it, nobody's going to buy it. Okay, so let's break it down per section. First, let's talk about product titles. I literally just use Etsy itself to see what people are searching. It's like the easiest, most obvious hack, but a lot of people skip this step. Just start typing the product that you're selling in the Etsy search bar and see what comes up in the suggestions. Those are the keywords people are using to search for your product, so make sure you include them in your title. Also, check out the best sellers in your category. They've already figured out the magic formula for keywords, so you can learn a lot just by peeking at their titles. Okay, now onto the product description. I'll be totally honest, I kind of cheat here. My secret ingredient: ChatGPT. Yes, I use ChatGPT for my Etsy descriptions. Sorry, there's a fly. Anyway, yes, there's a fly. I use ChatGPT for my Etsy descriptions. It's quick and easy and I've never had any problems with it. I tell it what my product is and boom, it gives me a killer description and it saves me so much time. Now for tags, I like to reuse some of the keywords that I'm already using in my title and then maybe add a few more that are relevant to my product. You gotta think like a buyer here. Like if you're trying to search for something, what would you type in the search bar to find that particular product? And the words that you'd come up with will usually lead you to the right direction. But just make sure you don't overthink this part. I know there's so many videos out there telling you that you gotta nail your SEO. And yes, I do agree, you gotta nail your SEO. But don't get stuck in analysis paralysis here on what keywords to use. Oftentimes it's really straightforward. Like if you're selling Instagram templates, the keyword there is Instagram templates. That's it. So use those handy Etsy search suggestions, keep ChatGPT on your team, and think like a buyer when coming up with keywords. Easy peasy. All right, you guys, we've made it to step 8. It's time to finally put up your listings on Etsy. This is the moment where you finally launch your amazing product out into the world. And I promise you, it's not as scary as it seems. So go to your Etsy seller account, click add a listing and follow the prompts. Now, I won't bore you with all the technical details here on how to do this step by step because again, there are so much tutorials on YouTube that break this down perfectly, or maybe dedicated videos on YouTube that just focuses on how to upload a listing on Etsy. So just make sure you watch those. But here's a suggestion I have on this step. Don't just launch one product and call it a day. I recommend having at least 5 to 10 products when you open your shop. Why? Because if a buyer stumbles upon your shop and they only see one product for sale, they'll probably think, is this shop legit? Personally, I wouldn't trust a shop that only has one item for sale. I mean, would you? So aim to launch a few products at the same time when you're first opening your shop. Not only does this give your store credibility, but it also gives your buyers some options. Remember, you're here to sell, so why not give yourself the best shot at making those first sales? All right, now let's dive into Etsy ads, and this one's a bit spicy. Now there's a lot of debate online whether or not to use Etsy ads, and listen, I'm not here to fight anyone's claims or argue about what's right or wrong. I'm just a regular gal sharing what's worked for me, and you can take it or leave it. No hard feelings. Personally, I use Etsy ads. When you're just starting out, getting seen is the name of the game. Let's face it, people are not going to scroll past page 2 or 3 or 4 of Etsy. They're going to focus on what's front and center, and that's where Etsy ad comes in to help you be in the front and center. You could have the best product in the world, but if no one sees it, it's like hiding a diamond in a sock drawer, right? For me personally, Etsy ads is a game changer, and honestly, I still use it to this day. Now, the good news here is you don't have to spend a fortune, especially in the beginning. Etsy actually limits you to, I believe, $1 per day when you're just first starting Etsy ads. So you don't have to worry about breaking the bank. So start with that, experiment with $1 per day, and once you start seeing sales roll in, maybe you can gradually increase your ad spend based on the data that you're getting. But again, I think Etsy ads is definitely worth a try. Okay, now that your Etsy shop is up and running, we're diving into step 10, and that is creating a Pinterest account so you can start pinning your listings. Listen, if you're selling digital products and not using Pinterest, you're seriously missing out. Pinterest is like the secret weapon for marketing, and it's free, so there's literally no excuse not to use it. Pinterest is actually a very powerful search engine. People go there to find inspiration and solutions, and if your digital product can be that solution, get on it. When I started pinning my listings, I saw a huge boost in my Etsy shop. All you need to do is create a Pinterest account, design some eye-catching pins for each of your products. Again, Canva is your BFF here. Upload them and then link them directly to your Etsy shop. You can also pin your products on Etsy directly to Pinterest. Pinterest is seriously made for digital product sellers. People that are already on Pinterest love pretty useful things, and guess what? That's exactly what you're offering. So why not take advantage of this free marketing tool? All right, on to step 11. Create a lot more products. Now this is where things start getting really fun because now you get to experiment with different product offerings. Here's the deal. Now that your shop is up and running, you're going to start seeing which products get the most love, aka sales. And that's your golden ticket right there. Once you see which product is a winner, double down on that bad boy. Create more designs, variations, and bundles of that top seller. Personally, I'm a big believer in the more the merrier when it comes to your product offerings. The more products you have in your shop, the more chances that you can land sales. Simple as that. And here's the best part. You're not spending any money to create these products. Digital products are free to make, so there's literally no harm in putting out tons of designs. Worst case, they don't sell and you move on. Best case, you strike gold and start making sales left and right. So why not keep the ball rolling and put out as much products as you can? Each one is an opportunity to make more sales, and you'll never know which design will hit it big. Plus, it gives your shop that extra oomph. Buyers love to browse a shop with a variety of choices. Trust me on this one. The more products you offer, the better chances you have at success. So get creative, try new ideas, and keep that Etsy shop stocked up. And there you have it, friends. That's my step-by-step guide on how to start selling digital products on Etsy. I hope you found some of these tips helpful and that you're feeling pumped to get your shop up and running. Remember, starting out doesn't have to be overwhelming. Just take it one step at a time, and before you know it, you'll be launching your own products and watching those sales roll in. And hey, don't forget to embrace the learning process. It gets easier and more fun as you go along. So before you wrap this up, I want to hear from you. What do you think of this video? Did you find it helpful? If you have some questions or maybe some topic suggestions that you want me to dive deeper into, make sure you drop it in the comments down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I can't wait to see what you create. Until next time, keep dreaming big and designing bold. Bye!